In this lesson, you'll be learning about the print function. Remember what we did in the last lecture? We printed out Hello World in the console. But what actually is this print? Well, print is a function. In Python, we have functions for doing specific tasks. The work of this print function is to print anything that we write here in the console. Now we can write anything here between single quotes or double quotes. It doesn't really matter, whichever quotes you use to print something. But now let's talk about the escape sequence. Let's say you want to print your name in the console. So we will write print, then we'll put parentheses, and in between these parentheses, we'll put single quotes and write I'm Vaji. But if we run this program, see what it says. It throws out an error. Whenever you see this red message, this means there is something wrong with your program. With the information here, we can find exactly where the error occurred. So next to the file, you can see the file that generated this error. In this case, it is app.py. So currently our program only has a single file, but real complex programs often have more than one file. So in this file, on line 1, this is where we got this error. And right below that, we can see the piece of code that generated this error. So that is where we are printing I'm Vaji. And right below that, you can see the type of error. In this case, we have a type error, and here is the message. Syntax error, invalid syntax. So what did we do wrong? Let's see. So here we started off with single quotes, but when we wrote I am, we also used single quotes. When Python interpreter reads this line, it takes these quotes as the whole message. And as you can see, the color is different too. But when it read more, it saw Vaji, and because this Vaji was not in any quotes, it threw an error. But how will we prevent this? Here we can use escape sequence. So here, before this quote, I will put a backslash. Now, when we run this program, there you go, it printed out I'm Vaji, and there are no more errors. Now let's say if we want a break in this sentence and we want Vaji to be printed in the next line. How can we do that? To do that, we will simply put a backslash and then an N. Now, if you run the program, you can see I am is on the top and Vaji is below that on the next line. But now I want to put a tab in between. You will see what I mean in a second. Okay, so I want you to write this line and put the cursor here. I want you to press the tab key on your keyboard. This is called a tab. We can also write it another way. We can do backslash and then T inside the commas. And now let's see what happens. Now we have a tab in between these two words. Till now, you have learned 3 ways to use backslash. But there is one more left, which is the backspace. To do that, we can replace this backslash T with backslash B. And when we print this to the console, we get a backspace. Now, if you want a sentence to be printed in the console, but at the end of the sentence, we have a backslash, in that case, if we will run this piece of code, it will give an error. Why is it so? When Python read this line, it took this backslash as if we are still writing a message and we haven't ended yet. But when it went on, it saw these quotes where our sentences ended, and Python said, "What are you doing? This is wrong." To prevent this from happening, we use double backslash, and when we print it to the console, it prints single backslash even though we used double. But remember, to print a backslash at the end of a sentence, we use double backslash, and to print double backslash, we use quadro backslash, which means 4 backslashes. So let's see this example in practice. So put backslash 1, 2, 3, 4, and when we run this program, it prints double backslash at the end.